to the Coach V Show, your show for personal development with expert insights and interviews to help you, me, and we work to be our best and live our best life. And also offering to you for your consideration life lessons, success frameworks, and behavioral models so that you can consider to add to your life, add to your business, add to the achievement, dreams, hopes, and aspirations that you want for you and those that you love. Where iron sharpens iron, together we rise. And on here on Island City, on Facebook Live and my YouTube channel, the Coach Viliami YouTube channel. Please subscribe, like, comment, tell me what it is that you like, what it is that you think I missed and I need to be asking my guests, and we could just correspond from there. But thank you so much to everybody that's listening in, and I am so excited for the impactful and empowerment that is about to take place here on the Coach V Show as we feature Brother McCann Utu here on the Coach V Show. Brother McCann is a devoted Christian and comes from a large Samoan family, which he adores his culture. McCann was born in American Samoa and raised in the LBC in California and found his way to Plano, Texas, and he planted roots there with his family. Earlier in McCann's life, an opportunity presented itself where McCann played college football at APU, Azusa Pacific University. As an opportunity also presented is now he transferred at 1987 and was a freshman and walked on at the University of Arizona in 1988 through 1992. After college, McCann used his experience with personal training and massage therapy to launch an incredible business in corporate massage and fitness, relaunched a nationwide mobile massage company from 1996 to 2016. And on April 8th, 2016, McCann experienced the darkest day in his life, where his entire family, with his two precious sons and their mother, had been murdered by his older son, McCann Utu Jr., due to two major concussions leading to his traumatic brain injury and the deadly effects of prescription drugs from antidepressants while playing basketball at Plano West Senior High School. McCann has endured the pain and hardship for the past few years to fight back and continue his journey by finding his purpose in life. He managed to turn his pain into something positive. Today, McCann has renewed his hope and purpose in the Forex trading market and launched a social media campaign in December of 2019 with two other co-founders. The name of the nonprofit organization is called Tell My Story Challenge. The mission and goal is to normalize the stigma in mental health, as well as raising the awareness of mental health from a preventative approach. Participants share a short 30 to 40 second video on how they cope with their mental stress and their mental approach. And also to give others the opportunity to help those who are struggling with their own mental health. The hope is that we'll start to talk about their own coping mechanisms to help others, but also give people an outlet to see that they are not alone, as also they have a way to get help. He is also moving back to his homeland of American Samoa to pursue his Samoan culture of serving his family and community through the Samoan chief system, as well as pursuing his political dreams to running for American Samoan congressman. Island City family and Coach V Show, we are honored and pleased to feature tonight, this Mana Motivation Monday, here on Island City, Brother McCann Utu. Brother McCann, welcome to the Coach V Show.
Thank you, Coach V. Thank you for having me. Appreciate making the time to welcome here.
Oh man, my pleasure. We have been in a fellowship for almost a handful of years now, ever since we connected, and we have talked about this opportunity. And I do feel we're still going to get in studio on Hollywood Boulevard at Dash Radio with the Island City Media Group family But I was just going, we need to get you in before the radio station opens up. So thank you so much for coming in and being on the show, McCann, and affording us and the Island City family an opportunity to really feature your story to inspire and empower others. So, McCann, tell us your Genesis story. Where does it start? Where were you born? I've alluded to it already, but specifically from you and your vantage point, tell us your
Sure.
story, Brother McCann.
Thank you. Well, started in American Samoa. I left in 1977. From there, I was landed in Seattle, Washington. And when I got there, I thought that my family that lived at the space needle because they used to send us stuff there, gadgets. And when I got there, I was disappointed that they didn't live at the space needle. But anyways, I woke up and realized that's not really where they live. So from there, I moved down to Long Beach, California. My auntie that I lived with passed away. So I ended up, in Polynesians, we ended up going to our families, uncles and aunts. So my dad's brother lived in Long Beach, and that's where started, junior high, and then went to high school called Banning High School, which was a power football. As you know, that Banning and Carson was in the 70s, the 80s. They were powerhouse. And my senior year, we were the #1 high school in the nation, the state of California, and also, the city of Los Angeles. So, from there, I took that and I went to Azusa Pacific and decided to go there where Christian Okoye played at. In fact, when I got there, he was leaving to the Kansas City Chiefs. So I got to meet the guy. But from there, I went in the Army because I was on partial scholarship. And Azusa is a private school. So I decided to go in there to get some money to help pay for my college. So I went in, took my boot camp, AIT, came back out 4 months later and decided that I was going to move away to Arizona. My roommate at that time from when I was at Azusa was from Arizona. And he told me, McCann, you're too good to play here, man. You need to go over there and walk on. They take a lot of walk-ons at Arizona. So when I got back, I got a truck, threw my bags in the bag and drove to Arizona. And there is when I started. I was playing under Dick Tomey, the late Dick Tomey, rest in peace. Great coach. He loves Polynesians. And I tell you, he was an awesome coach. And then from there, basically, I was there until '94. And a friend of mine and that I was working with at the time, we were actually, here's a story about my college. And during that time, I walked on Arizona. So I also needed some money. I needed a job. So basically, I became an exotic dancer, so a male dance review. So
say that again. You were an exotic dancer.
That's right. So that's right. Back then, I had a great body. I was young, so I figured I got to figure out a way to eat and survive. My family couldn't really support me. I mean, they tried, but you got to pay bills. So at that time,
so this is the first time ever that the Coach V show has had an exotic dancer on the show. I see you, McCann.
Well, that was a long time ago. That was a long time.
But I've seen some of the pictures, man. You looked awesome, brother. Real talk, you did.
Yeah, God, I was blessed with a body, and I just said, okay, God, I got to use what you gave me. So, I basically, during that time, I was traveling after college, and I finally got on scholarship. So when I got on scholarship, the coach told me, he said, now you can't dance anymore. So I stopped.
Right.
But after college, I ended up going back to it because I'm like, okay, what do I do now? So a friend of mine that we danced, we were going down to Florida for spring break. So we just got in the car, drove down there, and on our way there, we would stop at bars and compete at these, hot body contests, and I would win, So it funded our trip all the way there. So I was already an entrepreneur at that time, and so we got to Dallas. And we went to this cowboy bar, and man, I looked around. The girls were beautiful, but they were nice. Not just beautiful, but the people were nice. So I said, my friend, man, I like this, So we drove down to Florida for spring break, party there. came back, stopped by that same bar in Dallas, and uh, and we partied there again, man. I was like, I really, really liked it. And we met some girls. And so when I got to back to Tucson, I told my buddy, man, I'm packing my bags, I'm leaving. So that's when I met, that's when I left Tucson in 94. And I've been in Plano ever since. And, that's where I started my life there. And I met, my wife at the time, Stacy Fawcett. And I actually met her at the bar here. She came in there and she was basically, her and her friends were just killing time to the next club, but they were going to. And when she walked in, Coach B, she told her friend, man, I was on one of the stages, right? And she
Right,
goes,
right.
I like that guy, he's cute. So next thing I know, her friend comes over and say, hey, McCann, well, she say that my girlfriend wants a table dance, So I said, okay. So I go over there and talk to her. She was at the bar. And the whole time I was dancing, Coach V, she wasn't even looking at me. She was so shy. And I was like, oh, and she was beautiful. Stacy was a beautiful girl. And she was beautiful inside and out. So, that's how I met her. And we started our life. And the next, and basically that's how I ended up in Texas or Plano, Texas. So, but I love it here. I mean, Texas, as you know, is a great place. They love football, and the people is great. They're great here, and the cost of living. So I found that Texas was a good place for me to live and to raise my family.
Man, that's what a story. American Samoa to figuring out your family doesn't live in the Space Needle, getting shocked, right? Going to Seattle, and then playing at Banning. One of the banner programs. Still, they still get talent. The level of competition in SoCal football is absolutely amazing. But to play at a place like Banning, be a number one ranked team in the country. Let's start with the life lessons there, McCann. What are some life lessons that you learned through football, right? And then, because I see how you grind, be able to be really resilient with all that you faced, which we haven't even gotten to yet. But what were the life lessons that you learned from uh, Coach Tormey, and then also football, and coming from American Samoa to a new country? And then, I know that Samoa is an American province and part of the American, government system and all that. But it's still a culture shock and change. Talk about some of those life lessons and having to learn how to change, adapt, and some life lessons from football, please, McCann.
Yeah. So, Banning, let's start there. Coach Chris Ferragamo, he's a legend.
Yeah,
Vince
yeah,
Ferragamo's older brother, and I tell you, these coaches can make a difference in the young man's life.
right.
And I was fortunate to play under a great coach. This coach just taught us a lot about ourselves, about working hard, about just persistent, and it really helped shape me to become the man that I'm become right now. But I really
Mhm.
believe football has saved my life, Coach V, and
Right,
I think I could, I mean, I went to a school that, I mean, there's a lot of gangs there in LA,
right.
Wilmington, California. I mean, I've seen it all day when I go to school, but because football was there, that's where I gravitated. It kept me busy. It kept me
Hmm.
from getting out of, having all this time in my hands. So I really believe it saved a lot of guys that could have gone the other way. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that having football taught me a lesson about working hard, being persistent, don't give up. So even today, that attitude or that was ingrained in me in that and doing football, and it's become my life. My life road to pursue success and looking at what goals that I want to attain. So I think I really believe football has been like one of the foundation of my life. And then from there to Arizona, actually went to Azusa, Coach Milhan. He was another great Christian church, University, learned a lot there. Same principle, as these coaches. I mean, they become uh, very essential part of young man's life, and I believe that that's what helped me. And then from there, Coach told me to Arizona, one of the greatest coaches of all time there too. I mean, what he loved the Polynesian kids, and it really helped me to be accepted in there where I felt I was needed. So it was a family. It helped me to have that family that I needed, that when I left Samoa. My parents were there, and basically now we're here. We have to adjust to finding a place for we can belong. And football has really saved my life, Coach, and I'm thankful for that even today.
Yeah, yeah. So you graduate from college, or you finish your career at U of A. You pack up your bags, Plano, Texas. You meet your wife. Your wife and her girlfriend paid you for a freaking table dance, right? What an introduction. You guys fall in love, and we're in Plano, Texas. What happens next?
Well, I was, at that time I was actually dating somebody at the time, and
Right?
so I told her, she gave me her number, and I got, gave her my number. But when that relation didn't go well, I said, okay, I'm calling Stacy up. So I did, and that's where it started. And I was still working at the club I was at. And check this out. The way I got the job wasn't just my looks, but it's all about relationship and connection. So the general manager was a U of A Arizona alumni. So when he found, when he found out I played, man, I was in. I was in because to get into that club is called a bear. So it's still there, but you gotta it's political. It's what you know. It's who you, I mean, it's who you know. So
Right.
um, I was able to get in right that, and I worked my way with another gentleman that we came in at the same time, and we had to work our way to get to the prime time state. And we heard him and I. I'm sorry, him and I ended up helping each other. So I did a Samoan act, and he did a Top Gun act, and basically helped each other. And eventually, him and I became like we got in prime time. And my buddy and I, we became very successful at it. So from there, when I met Stacy, I realized that it was time to leave that lifestyle. So I ended up going to say, I got to figure out something that I enjoy doing. So I ended up going to get my personal training license and started training people. So I went to Cooper Institute here in Dallas. It's a famous place here for aerobics. Got my license, my certification, and then I started training people. When I started training people, they would be like, "Oh, I hurt. I need, I'm sore. I need a massage." So I ended up like, you know what? I'm gonna get my massage license. So I got my license, and then I realized one client I was able to get two income from, stream of income. So I was selling a package of personal training, package of massage,
Mhm.
sessions. Boom, one client. So I started just becoming this businessman that it was natural. It was natural for me, Coach. So from there, I ended up realizing that I can only do so much by myself. So I
Right,
started
right.
thinking, you know what? I can hire people. I can contract. So I ended up contracting massage therapists and personal training. So I ended up just getting to start this business called Corporate Massage and Fitness, and started going after corporations, apartment communities. A lot of these apartments now, they're nice. They have all the facilities in there, but they don't have a personal trainer. They don't have anybody to help some of their residents. So I got into that market and built a really successful business. And then from there, I started to say, you know what? I'm going to focus on one thing and be the best at it. I heard that from people out there. It's like, find one good thing that you're good at and be the best at it. So I say, you know what? I know that personal training was saturated, but massage industry was kind of, back in the 96, 97, it was still kind of new in a way. So I ended up developing nationwide mobile massage business, and just focus on massage. And I found my niche. I was able to do conventions and trade shows, corporation sports events, basically just mobile service, and basically provide different therapists and based on the, the days and how many people we can take care of. And these are like 15, 20-minute neck and shoulder massages. So, I felt that, I believe that at that time, I knew that I can maximize my time and also maximize my effort by, instead of me doing it by myself, I'll have 20 therapists doing it and then basically made money off all of them. So I was developing this skill set early, and I've learned a lot. And it's any business, there's highs and lows, and then by the 2016, that's when everything happened. That's when my family, and that's when it just kind of threw me off, and it was the darkest day of my life. So I had to reset my mind and kind of needed some time to rethink about my life and where I was at that time. And it was the darkest time in 2016. And in fact, today, April 8th, 2021, right now, marks the 5 year of since my family's passed. So it's been a tough road, but I'm still standing, and I think a lot of my early, with football and with my life, the things that I've gone through has helped me to get to this place.
Yep. So we're doing a pre-recording, and before this day happened, 5 years ago, right? It's been how many years now? 5 years, correct?
Five.
As we're recording this on the anniversary of that, let's talk about you and Stacy getting married, had your first kid, McCann Jr., right? And then let's talk through that, and then we'll get to, that dark day and how it's impacted you. What was that like? So you met her, and then you guys got married, bought a house. Just talk us through that part.
Yeah. So this is a funny thing. When Stacy and I were dating, we're courting, and courting each other. But I told her, whoever goes with me to Samoa and get my tattoo, whoever girl goes with me, I'm gonna marry that girl. So
She went with you?
she did. Well, when it time for me to go, and she said, "I'm going with you." I was like, "Are you sure?" I say, "Yeah, you said that whoever goes with." So I was like, "This girl is," it really um, it showed me that she really loved me, that she was willing to go out to Samoa.
To
So
the
this was
motherland, right?
1996.
Right,
Huh?
right. Go back to the motherland, right?
Yeah, so usually in these tattoo, Coach V, is you usually have a SOA, which is it's a partner. So because the whole reason behind the SOA is that when you're getting tat and you're in pain, what the artist does, okay, then you rest while he goes to the other person. So they recommend that you go with another partner to help you alleviate the pain, while the other one's resting. But I couldn't find anybody. So Stacy became my SOA.
Right.
She would just hold my hand there, and then the artist, they call it tufunga. They say, "Well, McCann, usually if a man can go through this by himself with the pain, then we allow that." So I ended up just doing it because first of all, I need to get back to the States. I had a limited time. I got to come back and work. But Stacy ended up becoming my soul at the time. So from there, we got married here in Carrollton, Texas, Covenant Church. We started our family there, and then started the business. Stacy stayed home with the kids. She didn't have to work. I went out and did my thing, and we decided that it was best for us to raise our own kids rather than taking them to daycare. And we just heard a lot of stories about daycare, and really,
Mhm.
I didn't want somebody raising my kids.
Right.
I want my wife to raise our kids, and if I could have the funds, the means to take care of my family, I would do it. And I did that. I sacrificed and became to where you work so hard and because of your family, but sometimes we can work so hard we kind of lose focus of the important things, and that's your wife, your kids, spending time with them. And sometimes we say, well, I'm working hard, that's love. That's how we would say it to our wife. And to me, I realized later, it's like, they want more than just that. They just want your time. And it's life lessons that we learn sometimes too late. But I had to, that was part of this whole reason why we went separate ways, because I think I looked at it, I was so driven, so much that you could lose focus of people coming across you that are looking to just um, want to talk to you, and and when you're so focused, driven, sometimes a lot for me personally, that some people can view as somebody that's arrogant or too confident. So I've learned now that I'm learning to just stop. But it's sad that's after the fact. And but I'm going to keep going. I'm going because that's a lesson that I can take from that, and be thankful to Stacy and my kids that, what, they're in a better place. But God's not done with me yet. So I'm going to keep moving and make sure that now, as I'm driven for my focus to where God wants me to go, me to be, I got to pay attention to those people coming through, or the things that are coming, and take time to say, okay, hold up, McCann. It's okay. Once you talk to this person, don't just brush them to the side, but pay attention, and be interested in people, really be
Mm.
interested in people. So I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot to from my lesson, and through this journey that I'm on, so to speak. So, but yes.
Yeah. And so we've had these conversations, right, McCann? The irony of success is that you have to be absolutely focused, totally immersed, and not distracted. But in that focus, in that absolute laser focus, that we could neglect and be blindsided by neglect, right? To just unpack that one more time about what the family wants is our time, affection, and our attention, right? That's what really that our families really want from us. And the irony is, especially like you were the sole breadwinner um, at the time, but you felt like somebody has to do this, right? But there is people call it work-life balance. I call it priority and prioritizing. Touch that on that one more time. Like if you would have the opportunity to do it all again, that you would still have that focus, but design your life in such a way that you could both give to your success, but also afford yourself every opportunity to be successful in terms of your life fulfillment and family. Your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, you know, I really believe that life lessons, sometimes you got to go through it to learn, and
Mm-hmm.
there is a sacrifice, and we can't say, well, I can't go back and fix this, and it's done. But what I could say is that, to those that are listening, is that you got to find a way to balance it. Your home is top priority. Your home is the first ministry. Before you can go out and minister to people, or to help other people, I really believe that your home, that's your priority. You got to take care of home base first, because if home base is not set, your wife, your kids, that's out of whack, man, your whole life is out of whack. I don't care how successful you become, but to me, I've learned that, to all those who are entrepreneur, those who are striving to, they have goals and aspiration, just like me, learn from my mistake and learn through my lessons, is that that's not, it's not worth it. It's not worth losing your family and your loved ones, and your marriage. I really believe that, take care of home base, love your wife and your kids, pay attention, make date nights, date night with your wife, and then with your daughter or your son, eat individually and together. So you have to get to a place where you value everybody, and make them feel like they're worthy, and feel, make them feel good about that you love them. And because
Mm-hmm.
it's not enough just going out there and making bread and say that's your love. I used to think like that. I thought
Right.
about it. So, hey,
Right.
honey, I'm going out there and busting, all this. I mean, isn't that love? And it's like, we don't get it. It's like, no, that's love, but that's not the love that we're talking about here. There's a different type of love. They want your attention. Your wife wants you to say, hey, honey, look at me in the eyes and just listen. Come home and listen and,
Mm,
pay attention. That's all they want. It's not a lot. It's not a lot, but we get so conditioned to be so driven that we have these blind spot. And I want to encourage those are in this position of in their business that are up there, they're doing well. Take time to to really look at that, make sure your home is intact, make sure your wife, you pay attention to her, your kids, making that time. Time, that's what spells love, right? Love equals time. I mean, so we hear that a lot, and that's even more with the right now. Everybody's working, there's no time, and they're trying to buy back their time.
right.
I'm working. I'm changing my mindset now again. It's like, you know what? I want to get my time back. I don't want to be exchanging money for labor, working 20, I want my time. So, it's a decision we have to make sure that your home is intact. And that has to be
Mm.
priority, top priority before anything else. And then everything else falls in place. I really believe that.
So then, so what happened was you and Stacy ended up separating. Is that what happened?
Yeah, we ended up separating, and I tried to come back, but the damage was already done, and it was just hard. And I'm sure there was other factors that were, that was involved in all this. And but we ended up trying to do our best to take care of our boys.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's not easy, so sometimes too, you know and divorces and families, broken families, kids become also families could use kids as you know
As
in
a
a way,
weapon, almost
a
weaponized
weapon,
kids.
yeah, to weaponizing. And and I'm sure I'm not saying bad things about Stacy, but this is a common thing that happens in families and any divorce. And it's not just, it's a spiritual warfare that I look
Mm,
at. And I'm not blaming Stacy, but I'm telling people, I'm letting you know, there is a spiritual warfare that we fight every day, even now with this whole pandemic and with our political system.
mm,
It's bigger than just the physical that we see. The physical is just a manifestation of the spiritual battle that's
mm,
happening in the heavenly places. And that's what happens. That's what the enemy comes to do: steal, kill, and destroy.
mm,
And he wants to attack the family unit. The family unit is one of the first things he goes after. And when the enemy can do that, it throws off a lot of people, and a lot of chaos, and a lot of just unfortunate things that happen. But sometimes in our lives we learn from these lessons, and it could be, it just, you have to keep going, and you can't have regrets, but know that you got to make peace. Got to make peace with your situation. And I'm thankful, Coach V, that Stacy and I made peace before all this happened. So I don't know what I would do if we never got together and really made amends on everything and about our kids. But I am thankful that we came to that place, to just make our peace before this happened. And I know that I'm at peace with that, and I miss them every day. And it's just one of those things that it's hard to explain to people that. And people ask me, how are you going through it? I say, well, one day at a time. But
mm,
I do know my faith plays a big role. And without it, I don't know how I will get through it. And some really great people in my life. I have tons of friends, and I'm thankful that I was able to develop relationship. And that's, like I said to you, relationship to me now is the top importance part of my life right now. Among anything else, my relationship with people is top priority, is pinnacle in my life. And that's what I cherish, and that's what I value, and that's what I want to portray to people. And the message, to people, is that we need each other. You know,
Mm.
you cannot go through this life by yourself. There is no way. I thought I could, but you know what? No. You get to a point that we need each other. And it comes down to the commandment, God's commandment, you know, love God with all your heart, mind, soul, but also love your neighbor as yourself. So who's our neighbor? Is are in everybody around us is
Right.
people, you know, from all walks of life, you know, different, you know, category, different race, different, you know, status. That's who our neighbor is. And I believe relationship is that key to success in life. I really believe that. So
Mm. And as we're recording on the fifth anniversary of that dramatic day, and this is one of the reasons why when I first met you, you came over to one of my personal development conferences, and we just connected right away because I was going like, how can this guy be so nice and so easy to talk to? He's non-judgmental with all that you've gone through. And even in my conference, we have it on video where I'm like, well, people talk about life is struggle, struggle is life, misery is optional. That there's a lot of theory behind that, and that's a great quote. One of the top Coach V quotes nationally that businesses talk about to their people that I train, coach, and teach, right? But you, from the very beginning when I met you, I'm like, man, this dude right here does not choose misery because you don't have an opportunity to fix it. 5 years ago today, as we're recording, the week before the Mana Motivation Monday that this is going to air on Island City from the Dash Radio Hollywood studios, you lost it all. And you made peace with Stacy, but then your whole world, but yet you still move on every day. That has been really why I'm so and feel so connected to you because you're able to still be so kind. And people talk about, V, how can you be so positive all the time? Well, one is because I've never seen shit positive come from being negative, right? And then that I'm good. I let go and let God. But I've never had to go through what you've been through, McCann. Can you talk the audience through as we're connecting the dots? There's a lot of people watching that are going to see the promo of this. But could you just talk us through that day? What happened to McCann Jr. and then taking some drugs to kind of help him alleviate that, and it led to what? What happened?
yeah. So my son played basketball for Plano West, and he had a concussion one of the games, and he started, you know, changing his demeanor. And then another incident happened. One of his own teammates knocked him, socked him in the back of that same area. And from there, it just, I mean, my son wasn't the same. So Stacy and I started trying to find ways to help him because he was just, you know, he just didn't seem the same person, Coach V. He wasn't. And so we were, we were told to take these different antidepressants. So we put him on antidepressant. And from there, it's just, I think that's when it really took a toll on him. And I've actually had someone call me after this happened, and you know, the lady told me, it's like, McCann, was your son? She said, I don't know you, but was your son on antidepressant? I said, yes, he was. And said, well, take a look at these videos, and you know, and then we can talk. He said, I've been fighting pharmaceutical companies for years about, you know, these drugs that is altering these kids, you know, these parents. So these videos, Coach V, was parents killing their kids killing their parents. It was like, and she said the common denominator, they were all on antidepressants. So it really blew my mind. I mean, I didn't know what else to do because I really realized that that's not my son. He was not like that. And then I found out that basically when these people are on antidepressant, when they're going through these mental, they're actually they're in a nightmare. They're in a nightmare. They're actually acting out their nightmares and they're sleepwalking, basically. They're
Mm.
sleepwalking. And then by the time they do an act, they don't even realize until they woke up the next, and it's not, and that's what happened to McCann. So I don't want to go through all the, gruesome what happened to, but McCann took, he woke up one night and basically took the knife and took his mom's life and took my younger son's life, and then he took his life. So it was April 8th, 2016. My whole life just, I mean, it was just, the feeling of it was just, I can't even explain it, but it was the most painful pain that I've ever felt. But so during that time, through this process, I've just been trying to really get myself healthy, because I say, God, there's no way I can get through this without you. So
Mm.
to those who are listening that goes through these traumatic and these experiences, but in my personal experience, I've learned to just detach from. I had to go somewhere and move away from the noise and just trying to find myself again, but also spending quiet time with God and be around people that just, I didn't want to be in the city, so I went to the mountains basically for about a year and a half just to find myself, Coach V, and slowly, God was just healing me and going through the grieving. But I knew that this is not God. This was not an act of God. I believe that we live in a broken system. We live in a jacked up system right now in this world, and I'm not gonna blame God for this. But I really know that when I get to heaven, I'll talk to God. Right now, I'm asking what happened, but you know what? I'm not going to blame anybody. So I've learned to just accept the situation and that, like that song, "It Is Well with My Soul," and I just left it to God and said, God, just get me through this. And I know that God has a strategic plan for my life, Coach V. And for something like this to happen to somebody, for a person like me, um, there's got to be something that comes out of this. And through this process, I've learned to kind of reestablish my business, my mindset of things that God already spoke to me about, with businesses and different parts of my life. And they're coming back, but they're coming back in a way where I can approach it differently, and more of not me trying to do it all, but really trusting God through His timing, and through these times that I'm healing. I got to go through the healing, but God's timing is perfect. So I really believe that my life is getting ready to take on a whole nother life,
Mm.
another level. And I believe that this pain that I've gone through, that I can use this pain to really portray what God's purpose for my life. So I'm on this journey now. To be honest with you, I'm looking at, the word that comes to my mind, and my personality is like purpose driven life, speak life,
Mm.
uh, faith, hope, and love. So these are words and these are phrases that are continue in my life. And every day I think about it, because really that is my story. It is my story. And so I'm just taking one day at a time, and learning to know that relationship and know that God's timing is perfect. And I just need to just allow God to, lead me and direct my step instead of me trying to do it all. So, but that's where I'm at right now, Coach V. So, but definitely this lesson or this life journey that I'm on. If anything, I want to encourage people that whatever you are going through in your life, I don't care what it is, whatever it is, what struggle, whatever it, loss of loved ones or a job, or just mental health, whatever it is, I'm encouraging you that if I'm here, you can do it. So keep, don't give up, don't give up hope. Find people, find a group of people that you trust, do life with other people and seek help. Don't
Mm.
think you can do it on your own. There's no way I could do this on my own. I'm so blessed to have so many friends, Coach V, that welcome me to when I go there and visit. They welcome me in, and it just, I bring something that they bless me, but they also say, McCann, we're blessed to see you because you're an inspiration to us because
Mhm.
look at your life and we just shake our head. How are you doing this? And then, and then in my life, I believe I just live my life where I can't give up and I gotta keep living. People, you gotta keep living. Don't stop because
Mm.
that's the key is don't keep doing one day at a time, but keep living because I believe that as I try to do that for myself, Coach V, there's people watching and they're inspired by I may not know, but I just believe that if I can just be a role model to just live me, do me, and try to live each day like it's my last day, be an encouraging to others, and hopefully my story can be a story that can save somebody's life, and inspire somebody out there. So I know that I have to that this whole journey I'm on, there's a purpose behind it.
Mhm.
There's a purpose behind it, and really it's about people. It's about helping others and encouraging one another because we all need it. I need it. You need it. We all need that. So I just hope that people that are listening be encouraged. You can do this. Find some good people around you and have a relationship with God. That's another big deal. That's you got to have that spiritual base to help you cope through all this stuff, that we're going through. And you're not alone. You are not alone. And so that's why the foundation Tell My Story challenge that I mentioned to you that I'm on. Um, I'm I'm all in with that because I really believe that people need to talk about. They need an outlet. They need to talk
Mm.
about how they cope with their stress or their mental health because there might be somebody out there that need that. So all we're doing is just tell your cope mechanism on how you cope with your stress or mental health, and then share it. And then eventually somebody else feels comfortable saying, "Oh, I didn't know that that person had." So we're just trying to normalize it and take a preventative approach instead of waiting until something happens. Then all these organizations out there talking about mental health. Well, they're focusing on after the fact that somebody killed themselves, and it's like, well, we're going to focus on the preventative. If we can get people to
Mm.
come out, because that's what happened. These people, they don't have any place to go. They get isolated, and then eventually they get to that deep state where they just take their life. They don't have any other option. So that's what Tell My Story challenges, and that's part of my story that as being part of the co-founders, we're going to take that to Samoa. We're going to take it anywhere and tell our story, and hopefully people could, realize that they're not alone, but there's help out there. You just have to reach out, and but that's where I'm at right now, Coach V.
Yeah, yeah. And McCann, that's why I wanted to one years ago in my first live seminar, my biggest one yet, right? That was a Coach V event. So I speak to companies, organizations, and nonprofits, county, city, national agencies all over the country via Zoom or in person. But that was my first live event. I had over 100 people there. And is also the reason why I invited you to come up to the Coach V show here on Island City is because of the fact that perspective. Because I hear a lot of people, right, as being a success coach, and my clients know, don't whine, complain, and blame with Coach V now, right? Because I just feel like we have so much to be grateful for. But you are always like the beacon of light in terms of my prime example to people, and is the reason why I had you stand in front of 100 plus people at my first live seminar, and then here on the Coach V show, is just to give some people perspective as they're whining and complaining about some shit that's petty. And I'm not trying to discount what people are going through, right, McCann? You know what I mean? We're not trying to do that here. But we're just trying to say is have some perspective. Because here's an uso of mine, that in a blink of an eye, everything can change for everybody, but it has for him. And so if this cat can have the courage, and he just said it, he doesn't have it all together. He doesn't have all the answers. He's just trying to impact other people and be an example. But sometimes you just have to take it 1 minute at a time. And for those of us that are whining, complaining, and blaming about shit that really has no real relevance, and that you're just doing so because of you lack the maturity or the mental capacity to handle what you're going through, let me show you a brother right here that's really going through some stuff. It's been 5 years from now. We're recording on the 5th anniversary, and we talked about it. And I was just like, okay, let's see if, I texted you this morning. I really wasn't sure if you were going to be all good or not. And thank you to you for your courage, McCann, for your example, right? Because that's what Marianne Williamson says, in that poem, that, is that when we become the very best that we can be and have the audacity to do so, we now give others permission that see us to do the same, right, McCann? And that's why when I asked you to come on the show, and we've talked about this, for a while, and then, maybe thinking about coming on when the studio opens, but I just feel like today, with all that's going on with the political climate, with the economy, with these gun laws, I mean, everybody's focused on the negatives and what they don't like. McCann, tell the world your story in terms of what your message is about. Hey, there's a lot of things we might not like, but there's so much to be grateful for. And that's why I always see you as the beacon of light and the example of that. Like, life is struggle, struggle is life. Misery is optional. Here's a cat that lives that every day. Now, Coach V is the author of that quote, and I got my struggles too, but nothing, when I talk about perspective, that really a brother like this can show us as an example every day. And so in that, McCann, you have the floor, 3 to 4 minutes. Like, what's your message to the world, McCann, about mental health, about being grateful, about having the courage that even though you want to be kind to somebody else, despite the shit that you're going through? Come on, McCann, right? Yeah. We all are going through something, but that level of kindness in some instances are missing. And I hear people talk about stories all the time. I'm just fortunate not to have sorry ass people like that in my life, right? That are overly judgmental, that are always negative, whining, complaining, and blaming. Martha and I, my wife and I, and the kids and I, we have amazing people that have the courage that in spite of what they're going through, they still chase after their goals, like McCann. Like, I met McCann and he told me his story, and he's still trying to do multi-million-dollar deals. He's still trying to go run for Congress and represent Samoa. He still's got these audacious things, right? And so what's your message to the world about why you are like that, and what people should consider in terms of perspective and facing their daily challenges, their life struggle, their adversities, their failures, their setbacks, and even more so their own self-doubt? McCann, let's start there.
Yeah, thanks, Coach V. If I have one thing or a base that could help open up your minds out there, uh, I have to say this, to be honest, that um, my personal relationship with Christ is what opens everything up, because once you find out who you are in Christ, you start to understand who you are as a person. Everything that we talk about, and everything in the Bible that that's there, it's a roadmap to life. All these speakers and all these people out there doing business and entrepreneur, if you really look at them, those are all written in the Bible.
Biblical principles, yes, sir. All mine, everything I talk
everything.
about. Biblical.
There ain't nothing new under the sun, Coach. I mean, there ain't nothing. God already had a plan, and if I have to encourage those, the Bible is such a powerful roadmap that if we take the time to really understand, read, and get to know and have that relationship with God, it opens up everything, because everything that we experience right now, it's, people don't realize it's not in the physical, it's
Mhm.
spiritual warfare. There is spiritual warfare, and that's the manifestation of how we treat each other, whether good or bad, is because there's spiritual warfare that we're in. It's good against evil, bad against, I mean, dark and light. And if we can understand that, it'll help us learn how to love our neighbors, how
Mm.
to treat people kind and not, love one another, be honest with integrity, doing business. All those things is a byproduct to me of a relationship with Christ, because that's where it all comes from. That's where light, that's where good, that's where prosperity, all of these good words that we talk about, being prosperous, being love, and faith, hope, um, it all comes from that personal relationship with Christ. And I'm not perfect. I'm not saying I'm perfect, y'all.
Oh,
I'm a
neither am I.
pastor's
Yes,
kid,
sir. I'm
and
with you, McCann.
I'm,
Yes.
I'm a pastor's kid, so you know what they say about those guys. They're the worst of the worst. So I rebelled like crazy, and knowing some of my part of my life, being a dancer, it's like before Magic Mike, there was Magic Mac. So
Yeah, Return of the Mac. Tell him. So,
so
so tell
uh,
him.
I'm just saying, I'm being real here, that you know what, there is nobody perfect. And so I really believe that having that good foundation, for it opens up everything else. I mean, to me, that's the key to loving people, building a successful business, having relationship, having a good marriage, having loving your kids, loving one another. So to me, that's the best advice that I can give y'all, to be honest from my heart. That to me will open up the doors and really help all of you out there to be encouraged and know
Mm.
that that's how I'm able to get through this. There's no way I get through life by myself or just in the physical realm. I have a connection with God. I have my time with them, and I read and I try, and then I have people, I have friends. So you can't do life by yourself. So God's put all these people around us, your friends, your family. Find good people in your life that you can share your life and do life together. But so that's to give you guys encouragement on what my story's been. Sorry about that. You know, I'm basically, that's what it is, to
Awesome.
have that personal relationship with Christ. And I don't, I'm not going to downplay that at all, because to me, that's the truth. That's the truth. Even through my faults, through my flaws and imperfection, that I always come back to that, because that's what makes me feel good, and that's what also helps me to be able to keep living, keep having that purpose, and know that God has a plan for all of us. Everybody has a different gift and plan, but we all have a purposeful life if you choose that, and if you work hard and never give up, and trust this whole process. So um, that's it, Coach. That's
Thank
uh,
you.
that's everything in the show, man. So
So,
thank
McCann,
you.
and to the audience, we're here now. We're going to put McCann through two questions on the Coach V hot seat because this hour went by fast. Dropping some life lessons for you, some behavioral models, and some processes, protocols, and procedures, approaches to life, leadership, and business about just handling some of the struggles that you're facing. We're going to give McCann here two questions. McCann, we only have a limited amount of time, so you get 30 seconds to respond to this. Life is struggle, struggle is life, misery is optional. 30 seconds. What's your response to that?
Keep living. Wake up. Take one day at a time. Be thankful. Be grateful. Have a good attitude. Um, be kind to one another, and don't ever give up. Don't give it. Whatever struggles you're going through, look at me. I've been through it. So if I can do it, you can do it. So don't give up. Be around good people. Find good people that you trust. It doesn't have to be a whole bunch of people. It could be just 2 or 3. That's it. Um, and go for it. Whatever your dreams, what you want in your life, don't let anybody tell you different. Go for it. Doesn't even matter what they say, because you're going to get that anyway. So keep living, trust the process, know that everything is timing, and actually it's God's timing. So keep living and live a purposeful life.
I like that. And then lastly, it's a scripture that says, "The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." 30 seconds, McCann. What's your thought on that on the Coach V hot seat?
Well, God's given us a life, a choice to choose whatever we choose. And it's up to you. It's up to you to make that choice. And we all have gifts as well. It's up to you, choice to use it or not. And because if you don't use it, there's other people that could actually be blessed by it. So and God can take that away as well. If you don't use it, the scripture talks about it. There's a parable of the talent, and
Mm,
if you don't use your talent, it'll be taken away. And but not only that, you're doing injustice to what you can do to help somebody else.
mm.
So um, find yourself and go out there and just be somebody's friend or help somebody. We all need it. There's somebody that needs your help, and you're valuable. And don't feel like you're not. God's created us equal, and we all have a gift. And use it for good. Use it for others.
Thank you, McCann. And thank you again for coming on the Coach V show, Brother McCann. And to everybody out there visiting and watching, and if you're a first time listener, we're here every Motivation Monday here on Island City on Facebook Live and on my YouTube channel. So go ahead and subscribe there so you can catch every show. And every Tuesday, the newest episode of the Coach V show will be on the Coach V podcast on Spotify. Thank you again, McCann, and thank you to everyone who's watching. And McCann and I are not trying to tell you what to believe or who to believe in. We are both unapologetically Christian, and really in that Christian, not religion per se, but right relationship, right, McCann, that you create a personal relationship with who it is that you believe in. If you find that sanctity, that joy, peace, happiness, fulfillment, love, and then you find that in the Quran or in Buddhism or whatever it is that you believe, have at it. We just know that this has what has really enlightened us. And we do subscribe that only Jesus is the way in the life. And that's what we subscribe to, but that you find something that could be the anchor to your life, leadership, and business, and also the next life that happens for all of us, because death, though there are all kind of miracles that we can do with the blessings that God has given us all, death is undefeated against everyone except for the Jesus it is that McCann and I both subscribe to. In that, it is of great importance for each of us to better ourselves, just not for the sake of success, but for the sake of being our best. In doing so, we realize the best of our abilities, and that everything and anything that you dream and will work for can be achieved. This is how this success coach, keynote speaker, author, and Hollywood radio show host lives, all about faith and family. Grateful for God's amazing grace. Thank you so much for tuning in for your radio show for personal development. And this is your boy McCann and Coach V here, signing off on the Coach V show, where iron sharpens iron. Together we rise. One love to you all. God bless. Until next Motivation Monday, your brother McCann here and Coach V. Peace.
Peace.